All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. We've got a ton of people here, and we're really, really excited to be able to share the high school product that we're working with all of you wonderful folks from Texas with. So let's jump right in. The webinar will be recorded, so if you miss a bit or if your phone rings, totally okay. We're going to post this recording to the Facebook group right after the webinar. All right. To introduce myself, I'm Josh Vernon. I help out with success and support at UTR, and I'm here with my awesome coworker, Julia Bahu. This webinar will take us about 35 minutes. We'll include lots of options for Q&A as we go along. And to introduce that, you've got chat in Zoom, okay? So in your Zoom client, if you haven't used it before, you'll see a little option for chat down at the bottom. Julie and I will be manning chat as we go through. So if you have any questions, don't wait till the end. Throw them out there, we'll tally them up, and we'll make sure that everything gets answered by the end. Great. So high schools in UTR, really exciting. Let's go over some basics of how the system works. At the very base level, every student must have a player profile and an account on our site. It can be created by the student or the parent or guardian. Doesn't matter to us. They just need to have an account at myutr.com. The player can then be added to your school's club. We reference your schools as clubs as a member. And we'll show you how you can share that link out with all of your students so it's easy for them to join your school's club. All players must have an account to register for your events. There's no way for his coach to register a player on their behalf. The player must do it. It's really simple to do that. Great. And if you guys have questions at any point after the webinar, or you need some help, we've got that high school group on Facebook that you can join, or you can ask us at support.myutr.com. We'll post the webinar there as well, and we'll have some great resources for you. Let's talk about creating an event and becoming verified. Key points before we jump into the system and just show you exactly what it is. Events run on our event management system can count for a player's UTR or their verified UTR with the results reflected the moment you input scores. You guys can run unlimited events and you get priority support through our support team anytime you need it, okay? The UTR versus verified UTR is really important. We're going to highlight that as we go to create your event. And for that, I'm going to pass it over to Julia so that she can walk us through the screens.
Hey everyone, let me share my screen and show you how to create an event. So this is my example test club that we created to showcase some things. This will look exactly like yours. You'll enter pictures and you'll see that your name is under the head organizer, a list of events. But right now we're going to focus on creating an event. So go ahead and navigate towards your page and click on create an event. You guys can follow along and do this alongside, or you can just watch and relive this video later and try it again later. Go ahead and click on create an event. And it's going to take you through 3 basic steps. And we're going to go through all the important features and go ahead and ask any questions that you have through chat. We'll be kind of tackling them alongside this and also at the end of our webinar. From the basics, step 1, it's going to ask you what type of event you're creating. You're going to go ahead and for us, we're going to choose Compass. The next step is that it asks you if this is a verified UTR or not. This is a really important step, because it also is the way that you would apply for your club to be a verified club. For all high school, we know that we want our events to be verified, and in order to do that, you need to apply for verification. Go ahead and toggle that to a yes, and you're gonna get a little pop-up that lets you know what you're doing. You're trying to become a verified club. There's a bunch of requirements that you can go through. For the point of this demo, we're just gonna skip through that and say apply. And you'll get a little badge saying that we will look at your application within the next 24 hours. And anyone that's on this demo, we're going to go ahead and approve tonight. So you'll be able to have your club verified very soon. Moving through, the next step is to create a division. And the division is really just a category underneath an entire event. And you can name them whatever makes sense for you. In this case, we're just going to name it an example division. And we're going to move through. You have the option to select whether it's singles or doubles, co-ed, male or female. And for all spring tournaments, you're going to leave this blank because all spring tournaments are free. Underneath here, you have 4 more options that are completely optional. It just showcases the type of player and the type of event that you're really creating. It does not prevent anyone or any type of filter to come up. So what will happen is that you can choose yes or no for coaching and officials, whatever you'd like here, and then you can click on next. Step 2 is really important. It's the schedule. So it's 2 major pieces. It's when the event begins and when the event ends. It also shows you when registration starts and when registration ends. You can go through and select whatever time and date works for your event. And the portion here that I really want to bring up is we had a couple questions about what happens after a player, after an event registration period ends and a player wants to register. One of those pieces that you'll be able to come back into editing your event, and you can just open registration back to a time that makes more sense and gives your players more time to sign up. You can also click on next here to take us to the 3rd step. Great. Now what we can see is what we want to call our event. So it's untitled, so we're going to go ahead and just type in example. You'd want to put in where your event is actually happening, so the location of the court. And then you have a section to put in any details that you may want to enter for your participants. Beneath, you have an automated event organizer where you can add additional event organizers so your players know who to get in contact to. And additionally, there are some extra questions down here, and one of which is really important. So automatically, we want to go ahead and turn this feature off. Players become club members, mainly because you guys are going to have students that are participating in your club that you don't really want to be part of your club. They're not your students, but you'll just want to turn that little guy off for this event. And then you have options. You can hide registered players. You can ask additional questions here. And then lastly, this is a really important one. You can set a password or a PIN for your event. This is really important because you want to essentially deter people that are not your students or participating in your spring tournament from being able to join. Most people will utilize a 4-digit PIN, but you can do whatever works for you. And you would then hit publish. Now, in our case, when we hit publish, it lets us know that our application for a verified approved club is under review. Within 24 hours, you'll be able to come back and actually publish this event. So right now, we're going to click on Save Event. And then we're going to throw it back over to Josh to learn a little bit about draws as I set up a new event for us.
Awesome. Thanks, Julia. I'm going to pause here for a second because we've got a couple questions coming through that I want to address right away. So we've got, will a coach be able to enter all of their kids for the tournament, or will the kids have to enter themselves? The answer is the kids will have to enter themselves. There is a way for you to send a registration or an invitation to your club so that they can enter very easily. We're working on a feature in the future to where you'll be able to have the students, you'll be able to enter the students on your own. But for now, we're still working that out, okay? So what we'll show you is how to share your club so that it's easy for them to join, and then they'll be able to see the events and register themselves. Does every player in the tournament have to be registered on UTR? Absolutely. In order for you to add them and move them within the draw, which we're going to show you here in just a minute, they have to have an account on UTR so our system knows who they are and where they're going, and also what their UTR is if they have one. Awesome. Great. Keep the questions coming, guys. Really appreciate it. So we're going to move into creating draws. Couple things to know just about creating draws before we show you the actual physical aspect of it, okay? Once published, players can register for your event. So once you publish it, you can always save it as a draft. And your first one, you'll have to save as a draft because we just need to approve you for verified status. We'll do that tonight if you create an event tonight. If not, it just takes us a day to turn those around really easy. But once published, players can register for your event. Draws can only be created once registration is closed, okay? So you'll want to wait until you've got all of your students in as coaches before you try to create your draws. You can create round robin, match plays, single elimination draws, everything that we saw in those different draw formats. You can add times, dates, and locations to the draw or by round really easily. And then even specifically by match if maybe you've got a ton of courts. We'll also show you how to move players to additional draws or just create a new one if you need to. We'll take a quick look at doubles match play. And we'll even talk about entering scores, whether it's individually or round by round. Awesome. I think that we've got another question coming through here. Perfect. Okay, cool. Another thing about kids registering themselves, parents can do it for them if they have access to their account. And remember that if registration closes and you have a late ad, no problem. Just go into the event, edit it, reopen that registration, get that student registered, then you can close it back up and create your draws. Really easy. Good question so far, guys. Thanks for it. It's really helpful. Julia, are you good to take over?
I'm good.
Perfect. Let's learn about draws and scoring.
Perfect. Okay, so from this example, this is an additional example event that we have, and I want to show you a couple main things. So I do want to show you how to share the event. This was what Josh was mentioning about how to get your players to register. So from the event page, there's a share option right here, and you'll see that you get a little box that has your URL that takes players directly to this page and allows them to register. You can copy and paste that into an email and send it to your team, or you can post it on a board and allow them to find your event really easily. So once players have registered, you're gonna go ahead and create your events. So this little button will actually say create events for the first time. In this case, we've done it a couple times. Once you're editing your draws, you're going to be taken to a page that shows you a couple of different things. This little area here is called the player bank. It shows you all the players that are registered to the event and not specifically to the draw. And we'll go through that. You'll also see that there's a place to edit, print, look at the schedule, match play, and also message your players. For right now, we're going to start from the basics and we're going to create a new draw. If you hover over to the left-hand side, you'll see that there's a draws drawer. You can click the plus button here to create a brand new draw, which is what we're going to do. We're going to name it Spring Example and go through and answer some of the questions. So for this example, we're going to have a singles draw. It's going to be co-ed. And we're actually going to choose a compass draw because I've heard that that's what we're mainly going to be using here for spring tournaments. You can choose your scoring and your draw size, coaching, officials. The only one we're going to worry about right now are the draw size. And then we're going to go ahead and click on Create. Perfect. So now at the top, you can see that this is the draw we want to be working in, our spring example. It's also notifying us that it's the east wing of the spring example. If you hover back over to the draws drawer, you'll see our spring example east, and it also has created the west, north, and south division as well. When you go through here, you'll notice that all the players that are registered for the event are here, but none of them are in the not placed category. And that's really where you need people to be in order to move them into any of the rounds. So what we want to do is we have spot for 8. So we're going to actually select 8 of these participants. And we're going to travel all the way up here to add to the draw. Now, once the players are added to the draw, they're listed under not placed because they're not actually in a match quite yet. We have a nifty little autofill feature that will allow us to move these automatically, or you can select each individual one if you want to make choices on your own. For this, we're going to click on autofill. It gives you some of the information that it's based on seeding, and it will fill the players for us. Perfect. So now you can see that the quarterfinals have all the participants there. And this is the area where Josh was mentioning about setting the location and the date and time. Now you can do that individually by match within these match boxes here, or you can do it per round. So if you know that everyone's going to be on the same court, this will be your option here. When you select on that, it'll give you a place to put in the location, and it'll also give you a date and a time to put in. Additionally, once you've completed this, you'll want to click on Save a lot. Make sure that you save your work. You can place all of these players ahead of time in their in the draws, and then as the tournaments happen, come back and edit this draw, or you can run your draws and actually come back after and input everything yourself. For the demo today, another piece that we're going to demonstrate is the score factor. So from each match, you'll see a little score button here. And when you select on score, it'll ask you what the score was. Now, if we enter a score, it automatically determines the winner based on the scoring format that we had chosen during our event. And you would want to either save and next or save and exit. For us, we're going to save and exit here and show you a couple more things. So now you can see that Shantanu and Josh played and Shantanu wiped him. And then what else we can see is a couple more options here. You can continue to put players in, and as they win, they will automatically be moved into the next round. Additionally, because this is a compass draw, if you go through the draws drawer, you'll see that the west, north, and south will also automatically be filled inside. If you need to give your player a bye, you can click on the player name here and choose bye, or you can clear it if you'd like. And then you can continue to move through the rounds by utilizing this arrow here. The last little bit about the draws is that you, as you enter the scores, they are automatically refreshed on every player's page. So as soon as I entered this score here and I click on save, it's going to reflect that Shantanu did in fact win this match, and it was a 6-0-6-0. One of our newest features here is the schedule. If you click on schedule here, you're going to see your schedule match play for the entire day, and you now have an option to print it out. If we had our draws published, you would see the entire list here, and you can navigate through any of the days that are affiliated with your match. Perfect. And that's all I've got for draws. We can answer a couple more questions as we flip it back to Josh.
Perfect. Let me take over here. Awesome. So we've got quite a few really great questions here. Let me go ahead and plug through these. So we've got, how can you go back in to edit your event to add a pin? So once you've created your event, I believe you saw on that screen there, and we can show it again here in a second. Right next to edit draws is edit event. So you're able to go back, and there are lots of things that you can change on your event, but there's a few things that you can't. Really the only thing that's applicable for you guys is that pin. You won't be able to change it once someone has registered. So if you set up your pin as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you realize 5 minutes later, hey, I actually need to be 3, 4, 5, 6, totally can do that. After someone's registered, it's locked. So make sure you pick a pin that makes sense, that you can remember, and that you're happy to share with your players.
And Josh, let me share my screen and show you guys where to edit that again once your event is already saved.
Perfect.
Okay, great. So here's your event page again. You can go ahead and click on Edit Event here at the top. And if you want to edit the pin, you can go to Details here. And if you navigate down here to the bottom under Additional Details, you can go back in and you can edit the pin. Now, my event specifically, like Josh mentioned, does have players that are already registered, which means that I cannot edit the pin. But here's the place where you would do that. Additionally, this is also the screen that you would utilize to reopen registration or edit any of the event details that you'll see on your main page.
Awesome. Thanks for showing, Julia. Great. Next question. There are usually 200 to 300 kids in most of our tournaments, and most coaches have not registered their teams. Is there any way we can just input the matches for the tournament where kids are registered? So there's no way to just input match scores into our system right now. That's something that we may develop in the future, but for this particular set of tournaments that you guys are running in Texas, it all needs to run through our system, which means that everyone has to have a player profile, and they'll need to register for the event. We'll change this and update it in the future. We're looking at a way to make it easier for you to just upload scores, but for these first tournaments at least, they'll all need to run through the system appropriately. Let's see. What happens when a team has a few kids who haven't or won't register for UTR to sign up for the tournament? We still have to be able to complete the draws and brackets. Absolutely. So as long as the player is part of the system, so some players, this is something interesting to differentiate UTR from a product like Facebook. You don't have a Facebook profile until you go to facebook.com and make one. But there's actually quite a few players on our system that already have player profiles. They just need to sign in and claim those player profiles. Maybe they've been playing in leagues, maybe they've played in USTA tournaments, or maybe they've had matches input by you guys through previous seasons. So everyone does need to register for their account. They'll claim their player profile. That way they're able to participate in the tournament. Can draw size only be up to 16? We've got about 4 more questions here, guys. They're really great. I'm going to go through as quick as I can. No, draw sizes can expand just about as big as you need them. So even though it shows the draw size as being a specific amount there, after, let's say that you set up your event to only set 16 registrants, but you get 30, that's fine. They'll appear on the wait list and then you can move them into the draw afterward. It doesn't really have a negative impact. It's just how we sort the players as they're registering. Great question. What if you're running a tournament and there's a team? Oh, we answered that one. One more question here. Can you keep the times of the draws off since we don't generally set specific times in high school tournaments? Great question. So times are an optional addition to your draws. If you just leave them blank, no times will be published. If you want to add them, you can, but by default, they will just rest as they are. So no need to add them if you don't need them.
I love the question. Can players be members of numerous clubs? Yes, they can. They can be members of as many clubs as they'd like. For high school, we know that it's important for them to join the high school club, but there's no limit on how many clubs you can join.
Great one. Perfect. Can you still enter scores after the tournament is complete, or do you have to enter the scores in real time? Great question. So we asked that scores are entered within 48 hours of the tournament completing. So you don't have to do it. I mean, you don't have to go from the court to your office and back and forth. If that works for you, great. If not, no problem. We just ask that all scores are submitted within 48 hours of play. That's mostly because the players are anxious to see their UTR updated, that they want to see how well they did and how it impacted them. Great. Oh, we got a question. How do I essentially remove someone from my tournament? Julie, would you be able to show us how to process a withdrawal if we need to remove somebody?
Yes, definitely. Let me share my screen.
Great. As Julia goes to share, I'll explain that players right now can't withdraw themselves from tournaments. Once they register, they're in, and then it's up to you as the coach to remove them from the event. And it's really simple. It's like 2 clicks. Julia can show you here.
Perfect. So from here, from your actual event, you'd scroll down and navigate towards the Players tab. When you click on the Players tab, you're going to see a list of everyone that's registered for that event. Now, it's going to show you a couple different things, that they're successfully registered. If there was a payment, it would let you know if it was pending or if it was paid. And with the More Options button, you can select Withdraw or Refund Entry Fees. For us, it's mainly going to be the Withdraw button. And this will let you know what will happen. The player will be removed from all registered divisions in this event. You also have an option to refund, which we won't be doing. If you only want to withdraw the player from specific divisions, you must withdraw them from the entire event and then re-register them for specific divisions. And that's going to be on their part. You would go ahead and click on Refund Entry Fees if that's what you wanted to do, and click on Withdrawal, and it would remove them from the event. I'll go ahead and keep Shantanu in here for now, but that's how you do it.
Thank you. Perfect. And that leads us into another great question. How do you create more than one division? So this is great. So divisions, as far as UTR are concerned, are only for registration. Once you have, so right here we see level-based play singles and mixed doubles. We normally recommend you create as few divisions as possible because it makes registration much simpler. You can almost, although it doesn't say, you can almost say that these are just registration divisions. Once they're registered and they move into the draws, you can move that player however is necessary. So you could say guaranteed 3 matches, level-based play singles, however you like, and then you could create, even though we only have 2 divisions here, they're not linked to a draw, you could create 3 or 4 or 5 draws if you need it. So general recommendation, to make that super succinct, the less divisions, the better. Makes it easier for registration.
And if you wanted to add a division, you can go to edit the event here, and you can click on Format, and it should be on the first page, and you can add divisions, and I'll show you where the little button's located. Right here was our original division that we put in. Here's another division that we've put in. There always will be an Add Another Division button, and it simply just adds on another box for you to fill out all those details.
Perfect. Thank you. Great. What happens if a player is sick the morning of and an alternate is entered in their place? Well, we need to reopen entry and add the new player. Absolutely. So the only way to get players into your draws is if they're registered. Again, we're looking to add flexibility to this in the future, but for now, if a player is going to be entered in the draws and you want their results to appear on the UTR website, the player must register for the event.
And that's pretty simple to do. You can go to Edit Event right here at the top. You can click on Step 2 Schedule, and it's going to take us to the date window that you can choose to reopen registration and allow them to sign in. That's it.
Perfect. Okay, it looks like that's all the unique questions that we have. If you guys have more questions, please type them in the chat. Happy to answer, and I'll take over, go back to just another slide or two. Super important, how to get help. So you can go to support.myutr.com to find resources and guides on running events. If you have questions about the tournament management system, we've got a lot of great resources there. But you can always submit a question to get help for us anytime. You can also ask on the Facebook group, really easy. We also have the chat feature available for you so that you are able to contact us in real time. Our chat right now is open Thursday through Monday. We're going to expand those hours soon, but you can get live chat help anytime that you have a question. Let's see. Let's give just another minute or two for questions. We'll hang out here, okay? Let me go to the screen. Great. Can multiple people input scores? We usually host these tournaments at 10 plus sites. Totally, yeah. So on your event, when you're creating your event, you can add other organizers that are part of your club. And then those people can also help you manage. So if it's you, maybe you've got a few assistants or even a couple of parents that are helping, as long as they're officially part of your system, they can enter scores as the tournament goes. Maybe you have someone just entering as the match goes along. Really easy, great question. If a player registers for doubles but is supposed to play singles, so they need to withdraw and re-register, can the organizer move them? Essentially, yeah, Matt. So if a player registers, you've got them in your player bank and you can move them around as needed. So you could actually just have if you wanted to, you could have a single division, a registration division for play, and then move people within other screens as needed. So if you needed to move them if you just had everyone register and then you wanted that registration to include doubles and singles, easy, no problem. What are the times for live chat on the weekend? Absolutely, yeah. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, from 5 to 3 Eastern. I'm sorry, from 5 to 2 Eastern time. Can we still add matches from non-UTR events so kids can get rankings? As long as you're running the event on our system and you follow the either UTR or verified UTR designation, you are able to input those results. Great, and then we had a question about dual matches. So right now, this system is designed for your spring tournaments. We're coming up with another solution for dual matches coming soon. Great, we'll hang out for just another minute for questions. Do the kids enter themselves into the event, or can the coach enter them into divisions? The kids have to enter themselves into your events right now. Perfect, okay. My question's about moving the players around draw created. You know, we actually have a really great video on draw creation. We have that available on support.myutr.com. It really gets into the nitty-gritty of it, so you can see exactly what the process is like, and you can always reference it while you're creating your draws. If you just go to the support site, I'll actually, and it's also available in the product as you're creating your draws. Great. Okay, that looks like all the unique questions that we've got here. So we're going to close out the webinar. Again, you can contact us anytime at support.myutr.com if you have questions. I encourage you all to set up your first event tonight if you can, so that you can apply to become verified. And we've got that wonderful Facebook group. where you can reach out to get help from the community, from each other, and we sneak on there sometimes too to be able to help, okay? Troy and Corey have been wonderful in helping us through this process and making sure that we're able to deliver a product that's really great for you guys. Perfect. Thanks so much for the time today, guys. We're going to close the webinar out. It was wonderful to have you. Thank you so much, Texas. You guys are great. You're really leading the nation in UTR for high school students right now. So thank you so much. Take care. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.